Hey, what goes on, guys? We're back here again with another review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Diamond Select Toys Lord of the Rings, Frodo Baggins, and Nazgul. And I gotta say, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I've seen all the movies, The Hobbit. I heard that they're trying to make an anime series similar to like Star Wars Visions, and I'd be so down for that. I don't feel like Lord of the Rings gets enough love anymore, so when things like this get made, super hype. Right off the bat, I want to get a couple things out of the way. Sorry if there's weird noises or weird audio or weird lighting, because I came home for the weekend, and since we're moving, we're in the other house, and I don't really have a good place to do reviews at the moment, so there's probably going to be a little bit of a weird audio. You're probably going to hear the fridge that's literally right next to me, and the lighting in here is like reddish orange, so the lighting might be a little bit weird in my pictures and things like that. So just getting that out of the way. Sorry about that. And the other thing is the Sauron pieces did come with these, but I'm going to save them for Sauron's own video whenever they decide to release Series 3. I don't understand why they wait like 3-4 months in between each set of figures to release, but whatever. The next series, I think, is the Orc and Aragon, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely excited for those. I can't wait for Gollum and definitely Gandalf. I mean, I don't know why Gandalf is waiting until like Series 4, I think, which is kind of whack, but you know, whatever. But taking a look at what we got here, I love the packaging for these. I love the art of Gandalf, Frodo, and Sauron in the front. You can see their names right there. In the package, you can see all the figures there. On the side, you get a little bit more of a window with the Lord of the Rings logo there. Then on the back, you can see the two figures there with the potion and, you know, the figures there. There's a price tag. If you're looking at a read-up for these, there you go. Let me see. Zoom in on that for the read-up on Frodo. I think they actually have the same read-up. They just changed the name, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and like I said, I like the art with the enchantment of the ring going around. That looks really cool. I like that. And then on the other side, it's the same thing on the other side. I don't think these are going to be hitting mass retail stores, but if you need it for any particular reason, there is the barcodes for these guys. Nothing really else on the bottom, but yeah. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack these guys open. So taking these figures out of the packaging, I gotta say they're pretty good for what they're supposed to be, but they're very interesting, especially Nazgul. So we'll leave him for second, but very interesting. I'll talk about him in a second. As for Frodo here, I think the head sculpt looks okay. I don't think it's like amazing, but it looks okay. I think you can tell who it is. I like the hair sculpt a lot. I think wash would have been nice in there. The eyes are painted very nicely. Going down into the body, you get nice wrinkles for like the over or like the vest. The shirt is painted in there, and then you get like texture all along down the coat and the little buckles. There is a wash on the jacket. It's a little heavy-handed in certain places, but for the most part, I actually think it works really nice. Adds a lot to the belt. Here is a separate piece. This sheath for the sword or then for the dagger is supposed to be in there, but it's not. All the buttons are punched in there. I should just get a little bit of glue and fix that. The sword or the dagger still is in there, but I'll show that off in a minute. The hands look good. You know, there's you get a wide open hand on this one. No interchangeable hands with these guys, which is a little surprising for Diamond Select. And then going down here, you get the pants, which are sculpted good. Just, you know, basic brown pants. And then the tootsies here, you know, obviously he's got to have his hairy feet, bro. Look at that. We like to see it. They are sculpted and painted, which is awesome. So I think this is the first time I've ever had a figure with sculpted foot hair or foot hair at all. So if anybody's going to do it, it should be Frodo. So I like to see that. I think it looks good. And, you know, he's appropriately shorter than everybody else. So I'm okay with that. It looks pretty good. I think most of my complaints come with articulation, which it's Diamond Select, so you shouldn't be surprised by it. But let's go ahead and take a look at Frodo's accessories. It is a little surprising, but Frodo doesn't come with much. To start, he comes with the dagger here, which if my camera would focus, it would be lovely. Take him out of the frame. But yeah, this is not loading. So, unlike most Diamond Select figures, he doesn't come with much. He comes with the potion here, which looks really nice. It's just silver paint here, and he can hold it in his hand like so. So that looks pretty good. You know, it'll stay in his hand pretty good. I mean, there's nothing really much to talk about. And then for the other accessory, he comes with the dagger, which looks really nice. The silver paint is really, really good on that. The wraps look nice. I really, really like that. And as showed before, it does go in the sheath really, really nice. You just got to make sure you push it in a little bit harder. Like I said, this is kind of annoying me, so I got to glue that. Just a dab of glue, but I don't have glue here with me, so whatever. Not that big a deal, but yeah, I think these work together. Now, while the other side isn't open hand, you could put the dagger in there. So if you want to have them with that and the sword, that could definitely work. And I don't think it actually messes. I think it actually looks good in his hand. So I actually really like that. So it's cool that you can have both accessories in his hand at once. So taking a look at Frodo's articulation, as with most Diamond Select figures, it's not the greatest. The head is not going to look up at all. Looks down to about there. Then it does swivel and pivot. So not terrible, but could be a lot better, I guess, because the hair or whatever makes it not look up. Shoulders move up that much, down that much. Rotate 360, no bicep swivel, single jointed rotating elbow that only gets in about there, so not even 90. And then a swivel and a hinge at the wrists. He only has a waist swivel, no crunch or anything like that, which is kind of annoying. He does do the splits good, and they're not doing the gaping crotch pits that they usually do, so that's cool. He'll kick forward that far, back that far, upper thigh cut, double jointed knee, or single jointed knee, sorry. No rotation at the top of the calf, like where the calf meets the pants. His hairy feet move up, hairy feet move down, and his hairy feet pivot. I also want to mention that they made his feet dirty, which I really like that. That's a really nice touch, you know, because they walk around barefoot all the time, like gross people. So that's pretty cool. I think the articulation for Frodo is okay, but like for an action figure, it's pretty bare minimum. But let's go ahead and take a look at Nazgul. So as I said at the beginning of the video, this one's definitely an interesting action figure, but kind of not for the right reasons. There's a lot of weird articulation in here. But then again, I don't know if this character demanded a highly articulated action figure in the first place, because there's just certain elements of its costume that don't work in plastic form, which we'll talk about. So this is very interesting. So taking a look at the quote-unquote head sculpt, it's just a lack of a face. This is just a hollow hood. Like I can get like my whole finger in there, and I mean it's accurate. It's accurate, but it's just strange to see. There's a head with no head, so it's really weird. And like it just comes down to like the tassels that are in the front. So that's definitely a first for me. Coming down to the arms here, they're sculpted and painted gorgeously. It's a black plastic with a nice like gray dry brush on it to bring out the texture of the cloth on the figure. But the big thing is the hands only work in a downward position. If you try to fold them forward, the sleeves just go out. So unless you have them like leaning back, like he's moving, like something like that, they just don't make sense. Like you can't raise the arm up, you know, and there's really no way to get around that. So without soft goods there, it can get very, I don't really know the right word. Like it just doesn't necessarily work as an action figure in that regard. And they're thick too, so you can't even like fold them over. So like if you lift the arm, then you like fold it over and have it down. So that kind of sucks. But going down into the body, you do get, you know, the cloth, like the cloak or whatever, all sculpted and painted really nice. You get a little bit of brown on the back here, which is a nice little touch, like towards the bottom, like it's been dragging. I like that. You get all these tassels here, and then up in his, I guess, crotch. There's no sculpting on the crotch, which is a little weird, but I mean, I guess, you know, you're not going to be looking at his nuts all the time. You come down in this, and the legs and the hands are painted and sculpted very nice with the armory plates, with the pointy knees and the ankles that, or the feet that look really nice with like all the armored plates. And like I said, they have like this silver dry brush over them that look really, really nice. There might be a little bit of brown too. I could be wrong, but he is pretty pointy as well, so I would just be careful. I would also be mindful of, like, if you move the legs around, these little, like, winged plates on the side definitely get caught. So just be careful with that. But this back coat is very thick, so if you were to ever, at the time of this recording, McFarlane just revealed that they're going to be doing the Dark Knight Returns wave of action figures, and the Build-A-Figure is going to be a horse. And I immediately thought about putting Nazgul on the horse. But, you know, obviously you could put a lot of things on a black horse, Darth Vader, this, that, the other. So we'll see where that goes. I'm super excited for that wave, by the way. But yeah, so you could also kind of army build these, but I guess this is a specific character. There might be differences between them from the first movie, but I could be wrong. But let's go ahead and take a look at his accessories, because he does come with quite a bit, considering all things considered. So he comes with quite a bit of sharp weaponry. Starting off, you have this little dagger here. The sheath does work nice. I don't really know where the sheath should go. I guess you could have him holding, like, the sheath in the more open hand than the clenchy hand. He holds this well, so you just kind of shove it in there, which is cool. I don't know if I necessarily remember him using that, but, you know, it's not bad to have extra accessories. Then you have this other sword that also comes in its own sheath. Again, I'm not really sure where the sheath is supposed to go. Just kind of black plastic with a little bit of, like, flecking of silver paint, so that's pretty cool looking. And then the sword itself is really nice. It's a silver paint with, like, a black wash over it kind of thing, or a gray or silver dry brush. Not really sure, but it does look really nice. And he also holds this sword really good. Well, for the most part. He can't get his hand all the way unless you, like, flick up his hand like this. So you could kind of do that, which doesn't look too terrible, especially considering you can't lift up his sleeve. So I'll probably have him like this on the shelf. I mean, there's not much else you can really do with him, which we'll get to in articulation, but that's pretty cool. And this is my favorite, or I actually think I like the other sword a little bit better. The third sword you get here, so like the branched out. I'm not sure if they have specific names. Let me know if they do, or if I'm missing something. But it looks pretty cool. I think I like this one better just because it's a little bit longer. But so I like to tilt the wrist up a little bit because he does have a vertical hinge on the right side, which is something I've never seen from Diamond Select. So that's pretty cool. And then kind of just, you know, methodically tilt him, or like not methodically, like mischievously or mysteriously, like tilt him to the side like that. And there's like the little nick in the sword, or like the little dip in the sword. So yeah, it looks really cool. I actually like him holding the sword or whatever. It actually looks pretty cool. So yeah, I think he looks great, and I think he does come with like a good amount of accessories, and he does come with Sauron pieces, so I think that's very fair for the price point of $25 to $30. But let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation, because it is very interesting to say the least. So taking a look at Nazgul's articulation, you look at this character and you don't see articulated action figure, but Diamond Select did do some pretty good things. Some really stupid things, but some pretty good things. For the head, if you want to call it that, for the hood articulation, just pretty much a swivel. It'll look up a little bit and down a little bit, and does pivot just a tad, like more just a wobble. It's really just a swivel, but what can you do with just a big hood? I mean, if he was to look up, these flaps would just kind of be pointing out, so it doesn't really necessarily work. The shoulders move outwards that far. They move down that much. They have a bicep swivel up here, along with rotating 360. Now, this is where it gets a little redundant. They have a swivel at the single jointed elbow, which the single jointed elbow only moves about 90. But then right under it, they have a forearm swivel that moves that, like it just rotates. I don't really see the point of that. I don't really understand why they would do that, but whatever. It doesn't really affect anything. It just kind of breaks up the sculpt a little bit. But if you have it in the right position and then rotate the elbow, it shouldn't give you that much of an issue. The hand does swivel and has a vertical hinge on this side, so that makes it really cool to like wield the sword up a little bit more. So I'm definitely happy with that. Going down into the body here, I'm going to flip the head around just to get the tassels out of the way. If you grab the body here, he does have a diaphragm joint, which allows him to rotate, pivot just a tad to the side, to side, and then a swivel. But nothing too crazy. I mean, he doesn't really need anything crazy. This whole coat, like, quote-unquote, what Robo says from the Fwoosh is a traffic cone the whole figure, so you can't really do much with it. But the hips do still split. He will kick forward that far, back that far, upper thigh cut, double jointed knees in there that actually work pretty nice. And then the ankles are going to move down all the way, up a fair amount, down all the way, up a fair amount, and then it does pivot. So at certain points, he's really articulated and looks really good, or it works really good. But then at other points, it's like, was that necessary? Like the forearm swivel was kind of stupid. And these sleeves really prevent anything from being dynamic. You know, it's just going to be him standing there. The crazy thing is, though, I think he would be able to get on a horse. I think this, while it's thick, it does like fold enough. I don't know if that's the right word, but it does like come back enough to where if like I was to sit his ass on a horse, I feel like it would hold. So might have to try that when the time comes. I might have to try that when the time comes. But yeah, so I think for what he is, his articulation's good. It's just really, really strange, but you know, whatever. But let's go ahead and jump into final thoughts. So this might be one of the rare times where I think you guys are actually asking yourself, yo, Amp, what are you thinking of this figure or these figures? They're what I expected. He's a little strange in the sense of like you would never think that a character like this would work as an action figure, but the fact that he does is actually pretty cool. And he looks good on the shelf. And, you know, I love having these new characters on the shelf. Frodo, for the most part, I think could have been done a little bit better. I'm surprised that they gave him a diaphragm joint and not him. I don't think he really needs it, but just surprising to me. I think they look great. If you put them on a shelf, you definitely know who they are. Well, you definitely know who Frodo is because the hairy feet or whatever. But, like, you know, obviously the average fan doesn't really know who Nazgul is. But, you know, it's cool to see. I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm going to do them individually for ratings just because I think there's different things about each figure that work and don't work. For Frodo, I will give him a 7 out of 10. I think a diaphragm joint would have been nice. Not completely necessary, but nice. The legs are a little bit weird, and that head sculpt is but, you know, not that big a deal. I think a satchel would have been nice too, but, you know, not that big a deal. I think for the price point to get the big-ass pieces that you do for Sauron, I think it's kind of fair. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10. For Nazgul, I'll go ahead and give him an 8 out of 10 because the sleeves really suck. But for the most part, I think they executed a figure of a character like this as best as they could, especially with Diamond Select, because apparently they have like restrictions on how much articulation they're allowed to put in certain figures, this, that, or the other, excuses. But, you know, whatever. I think he looks good. You're going to slap him on a shelf, and he's going to look good. So I'm happy to say that these are pretty cool. I think these are pretty cool. But I think that's all I have for today. So if you guys have not already, please be sure to like, to subscribe, and to comment on the video. It is much appreciated. I would love to get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year. And if we do so, we will do a giveaway. I'm not sure of what, but I'll put a poll on my Instagram and my YouTube. And between the two, I'll take the average and figure out what we want to give away. I'll put up a couple options, things like that. And we'll see what people like the best, and I will do so. But I think that's all I have for today. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram at ZachToys if you have not already. I'm going to be taking a couple good pictures of these guys as best as I can with my limited resources and figure restrictions. But that's all I got for today, so I will see you guys in the next review. Peace.